In today's exploration, we dive into a truly intriguing subject: the world before the Great Flood. Ever curious about the daily existence of those who lived through such a monumental event that reshaped humanity's narrative? We'll look into the climate, geography, culture, religious beliefs, technological advancements, moral values, and spiritual lives of those dwelling on earth before God's flood, intended to purify the world from sin. This video delves into various insights drawn from biblical accounts and augmented by historical and scientific studies. Make sure you watch to the end to uncover some astonishing revelations. Before we dive in, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, activate the notification bell so you won't miss future videos, and share this with your friends to spread the wonder of this ancient time. Let's begin our journey. The pre-flood world was distinct in several key ways from the world we know today. One striking difference was the longevity of its inhabitants. Did you know that before the flood, humans generally had much longer lifespans? According to the Bible, the patriarchs of that era lived for several centuries, with ages stretching from a few hundred years to nearly a millennium. Take, for example, Adam, the first human, who lived for 930 years. His son Seth, who lived 912 years. Methuselah, Noah's grandfather, who holds the record at 969 years as the oldest man ever. And Noah himself, who lived for 950 years. But what could account for such extended lifespans? Many theories exist, yet one widely acknowledged explanation suggests that a water vapor canopy enveloped the Earth. This canopy shielded the planet from harmful solar radiation, fostering a global climate that was both milder and more humid, ideal conditions for prolonged life. This vapor layer is believed to have collapsed during the flood, resulting in the deluge that submerged the Earth. Post-flood, the environment underwent a severe shift, becoming colder and drier, and the increase in solar radiation began to impact human health negatively, significantly reducing lifespans. Another notable distinction of the pre-flood world was the level of interaction between the divine and humans. Scriptures recount that God had direct communications with certain individuals like Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, Enoch, and Noah, offering guidance, prophecies, and blessings. He also meted out judgments and punishments for transgressions. Moreover, the scriptures describe an unusual blending of the divine and the mortal realm before the flood. The union between the sons of God and the daughters of men, which gave rise to a race of giants known as the Nephilim. The identity of these sons of God and daughters of men and the nature of the Nephilim spark considerable debate among scholars. A prevalent theory suggests that the sons of God were fallen angels who defied God and descended to earth to engage with human women, the daughters of men. This forbidden mix resulted in the birth of the Nephilim, hybrid creatures with both human and angelic traits, noted for their immense strength, great stature, and malevolent nature. These hybrid beings contributed significantly to the violence and corruption rampant on earth, ultimately drawing divine condemnation and the cataclysmic judgment of the flood. To fully grasp the reasons behind the rebellion of these fallen angels, we must delve deeper into the narrative, tracing back even before the Earth's creation. In the narrative preceding the creation of Earth, the Bible details the existence of God alongside His Majesty, shared with His Son, Jesus. During this time, God also crafted angels as spiritual entities devoted to His service and worship. Among these celestial beings, Lucifer, known as the morning star for his striking beauty, intelligence, and might, was prominent. He was the appointed guardian cherub who oversaw God's throne, holding a significant rank among angels and enjoying direct access to God's presence. However, Lucifer grew dissatisfied with his role, seeking equality with God himself. Driven by pride, envy, and boundless ambition, Lucifer managed to persuade a third of the angelic hosts to partake in his rebellion against God. His ultimate aim was to usurp God's throne and receive adoration from all creation. However, God, in his omnipotence and sovereignty, thwarted Lucifer's plans by expelling him and his insurgent angels from heaven, relegating them to earth. Upon his fall, Lucifer was henceforth known as Satan, meaning the adversary, and his followers were termed demons, malign spirits under his command, signaling the onset of an enduring spiritual battle between the divine kingdom and Satan's dark realm. With the earth's creation, when God placed humans, made in his image, upon it, Satan perceived it as a chance to enact his revenge against God by corrupting his new creation. Viewing the earth as his territory and Adam and Eve as trespassers, Satan, utilizing the serpent, which was among the most astute of God's creatures, deceived Eve. He misled her into believing that consuming the forbidden fruit would grant her godlike knowledge of good and evil. Seduced by the deceit, Eve ate the fruit and also shared it with Adam, leading to their disobedience against God. This act not only resulted in their loss of innocence and divine communion, but also marked humanity's initial fall into sin. As a result of their disobedience, Adam and Eve forfeited the dominion they held over earth, transferring that power to Satan, who assumed the title of the prince of this world. Consequently, sin permeated humanity, ushering in death, pain, suffering, disease, violence, injustice, oppression, and an overarching rebellion against God. Human history thus became a saga of decline and salvation, of conflict paired with hope, and a narrative of both judgment and divine grace. One poignant illustration of this dynamic is the story of Cain and Abel, the sons of Adam and Eve. The brothers differed greatly in their approach to worship. Abel, a shepherd, dedicated the finest of his flock to God as an offering. Cain, on the other hand, was a farmer who also presented offerings from his crops, but lacked the sincerity of his brother. God favored Abel's offering due to his genuine devotion, but he did not regard Cain's offering in the same light. This disparity ignited Cain's wrath and envy, leading to a tragic outcome. Unwilling to heed God's correction, Cain allowed his anger to overtake him and murdered Abel in the fields. God, omniscient and just, witnessed Cain's actions and confronted him. He questioned Cain about Abel's whereabouts, to which Cain replied with defiance and deceit, saying, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" God then declared to Cain, "What have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. As you work the soil, it shall no longer yield its riches to you. You shall be a restless wanderer on the earth." Overwhelmed by his fate, Cain lamented to God, "My punishment is more than I can bear. Today you have banished me from the land, and I must hide from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." Thus, Cain's life took a path marked by isolation and wandering, setting a precedent for the tumultuous human struggle between sin and divine oversight. God declared that anyone who dared to harm Cain would face severe consequences, being punished sevenfold. To ensure Cain's protection, God marked him so that he would be easily recognized and thus spared from death. Subsequently, Cain departed from God's presence and settled in the region known as Nod, to the east of Eden. Despite his status as a murderer and an outcast, Cain did not remain alone. He took a wife, likely one of his relatives, given that Adam and Eve had other children from whom he could choose a spouse. Cain fathered a son named Enoch, after whom he named the first city ever built, reflecting his skills in construction and leadership. His lineage continued to grow and became notable for their various contributions to society. Jabal became known as the pioneer of nomadic herding and tent living. Jubal excelled as the first musician, mastering the harp and flute. Tubal-Cain became renowned for his craftsmanship in bronze and iron. Among them, Naamah is recognized as the sole woman, marking her unique position in Cain's lineage. These individuals illustrate the early diversification of human roles into specific professions, marking the dawn of civilization. However, this development also coincided with a gradual estrangement from God, as the people indulged in idol worship, violence, and moral corruption. The scriptures further recount the story of Lamech, a descendant of Tubal-Cain, who distinguished himself by taking 2 wives, Ada and Zillah, thus introducing polygamy. He was also guilty of murder, having killed a man and a boy in retribution for offenses against him. Lamech boasted of his deeds to his wives, proclaiming his vengeance as a warning to others about his power and ruthlessness. In response to Cain's violent deed, God declared that any act of retaliation against him would be met with a vengeance 7-fold. Conversely, Lamech, a later descendant, claimed that if he were avenged, it should be to a far greater extent, 77 times. In the midst of these turbulent times, Adam and Eve welcomed another son, whom they named Seth, signifying substitute. Seth was given this name as he was born following the tragic loss of Abel, who was murdered by his brother Cain. Seth was the progenitor of a godly lineage. His son Enosh led to Kenan, followed by Mahalalel, then Jared, then Enoch, who was the father of Methuselah. Methuselah's son was Lamech, who fathered Noah. This lineage, known as the Sons of God, was characterized by their devotion and obedience to God, standing in stark contrast to the sons of men, who turned away from God and embraced sin. Among the faithful was Enoch, renowned for his profound relationship with God. Unlike others of his time, who were merely noted for their lineage, Enoch was celebrated for his spiritual communion. It is said that he walked so closely with God that he was taken to heaven without experiencing death, a testament to his righteous life. Enoch also stood as a voice of prophecy, warning of divine judgment upon the wicked. His life and ascension serve as a beacon for righteousness, exemplifying the pursuit of God's will amidst a corrupt generation. The world before the flood was marked by widespread corruption and moral decay, with rampant greed and evil pervading society. Families were torn by strife, and exploitation was common among neighbors. The earth was viewed by God as corrupt and violent, with human thoughts consistently bent towards evil. God observed the escalation of humanity's wickedness and saw that corruption had permeated all living beings. God, deeply saddened by the moral decay of mankind, decided to cleanse the earth of its inhabitants, humans, along with creatures of the land, air, and sea. Yet, in the midst of this divine judgment, Noah stood out as a beacon of virtue. Noah was deemed righteous and blameless among his peers, and he maintained a close relationship with God. He was the father of 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Recognizing Noah's integrity, God entrusted him with a monumental task: to build an ark that would preserve a remnant of life through a catastrophic flood designed to reset the course of human history. The ark, as designed by God, was a colossal structure, measuring about 450 feet in length, 75 feet in width, and 45 feet in height, constructed to endure the deluge's might. This vessel was meticulously crafted from gopher wood, known for its durability and resistance to water. It was coated inside and out with pitch to ensure it remained watertight. Structurally, the ark featured 3 levels, containing various compartments to accommodate Noah's family, along with about 40,000 animals, providing them with shelter and sustenance. The ark also featured a single window and a door on its side, which only God had the authority to open or close, symbolizing divine control and protection. Over approximately 120 years, Noah built the ark, adhering strictly to God's specifications. During this period, he also served as a preacher of righteousness, urging his contemporaries to turn from their wicked ways and forewarning them of the looming disaster. Thus, the ark stood not only as a marvel of ancient engineering, but also as a profound symbol of God's mercy and salvation amidst impending judgment. Despite Noah's persistent warnings and his visible, laborious effort building the ark, his contemporaries dismissed him as a mere fanatic. They ridiculed him, not believing in the impending divine judgment because rain had never fallen on earth before. Unaware of the forthcoming catastrophic flood, where the subterranean waters would burst forth and the heavens would unleash torrents, the people carried on with their daily lives, oblivious to their need for repentance. They failed to grasp that the day of reckoning would arrive unexpectedly, catching them unprepared like a thief in the night. Their only chance for survival was to enter the ark, a leap of faith they were unwilling to take. When the time came, God instructed Noah to board the ark with his family because of his unwavering righteousness. God detailed the animals to be saved, 7 pairs of every clean animal and a pair of each unclean animal, along with 7 pairs of birds to ensure the continuity of these species post-flood. This directive was to preserve life across the earth after the flood's devastation. Following God's instructions, after 7 days, it began to rain, continuing relentlessly for 40 days and nights, aimed at erasing all living creatures from the earth as a divine reset. At 600 years old, Noah witnessed this divine intervention unfold, safely aboard the ark with his family and the designated animals on the day decreed by God. This marked a pivotal moment in biblical history, demonstrating both the severity of divine judgment and the provision of divine mercy. When the cataclysm began, the very foundations of the earth were disrupted as the deep subterranean waters erupted and the heavens opened, unleashing rain that poured down continuously for 40 days and nights. The deluge overwhelmed the landscape, causing the waters to rise significantly, lifting the ark and allowing it to float atop the swelling seas. The floodwaters surged so extensively that they covered all the elevated terrain, submerging even the highest mountains under 15 cubits of water. This great flood was devastating and indiscriminate, claiming the lives of every creature that lived on dry land, from birds to livestock, wild animals and all of humanity, except for Noah and those aboard the ark. Every being that breathed air through its nostrils perished as the waters enveloped the earth, erasing all traces of life above the water's surface. Noah, his family, and the animals that accompanied them in the ark remained the sole survivors in this watery wasteland, isolated for 150 days as the flood maintained its grip on the earth. Yet they were not forgotten by God. In time, God caused a wind to blow across the earth, signaling the beginning of the end for the flood. The sources of water from below and above were sealed off, and the relentless rain was halted. Gradually, the waters began to recede, retreating steadily over the following months. After 150 days of continuous decline, the ark finally came to rest on the 17th day of the 7th month upon the mountains of Ararat. As the waters gradually subsided, the mountain peaks began to emerge on the first day of the 10th month, revealing dry land once more. After waiting an additional 40 days, Noah opened the window he had made in the ark and released a raven. The raven flew back and forth, exploring the landscape until the earth had sufficiently dried. Noah then released a dove to further investigate the condition of the earth's surface. However, the dove returned, finding nowhere to land because the waters still covered much of the ground. Noah carefully retrieved the dove and brought it back inside the ark. After another 7 days, he sent the dove out again. This time, it returned at evening with an olive leaf in its beak, signaling to Noah that plant life was once again emerging and the waters were receding. Encouraged but cautious, Noah waited an additional 7 days and sent the dove out once more. This time, it did not return, indicating that the earth was becoming habitable again. On confirming the dryness of the earth, Noah removed the ark's covering and saw that the ground was indeed dry. By the 601st year, on the first day of the first month, the earth had dried up, and by the 27th day of the second month, it was completely dry. God then commanded Noah to exit the ark along with his family and all the animals that had survived the flood with him. This directive was to repopulate and replenish the earth, to restore life across its vast landscapes. Noah was to lead all creatures out so that they might spread, be fruitful, and multiply, filling the earth once again with life and activity, marking a new beginning for all creation. Noah exited the ark accompanied by his sons, his wife, and their wives. Alongside them, every type of animal, each crawling creature, and all birds, as well as every being that moves upon the ground, departed the ark in their family groups. Noah then constructed an altar to the Lord. He took examples of each clean animal and bird, presenting them as burnt offerings on the altar. The pleasing scent reached the Lord, who then vowed internally, "Never again will I curse the soil because of humans, despite the evil nature of human hearts from a young age. Nor will I destroy all living things as before. For as long as the earth remains, the cycle of planting and harvesting, the cold and the heat, the seasons of summer and winter, and the pattern of day and night will not stop." God then blessed Noah and his sons, instructing them, "Multiply and repopulate the earth. Every animal on land and every bird in the sky, along with everything that crawls on the earth and all the fish in the sea, will fear and dread you. They are placed within your control. All creatures that live shall be yours for food, just as the green plants I have already given you. However, you must not eat meat that still contains its lifeblood. Moreover, I will demand an account for your lifeblood from each creature and from each human. From one human to another, I will seek justice for a life taken. Anyone who takes a human life will have their life taken by others, for humans are made in the image of God." He finished by reiterating, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Spread across the earth and multiply upon it." Genesis 9:1-7. Then God spoke to Noah and his sons, saying, "I am now establishing my covenant with you, your descendants, and with every living being accompanying you, the birds, the domestic animals, and all the wild animals of the earth that came out of the ark. This covenant extends to every animal on earth. I promise you that never again will all life be destroyed by floodwaters, nor will there ever be another flood to devastate the earth." And God declared, "Here is the sign of the covenant I am making between us and every living creature with you, for all generations to come. I have placed my rainbow in the clouds, and it will serve as a symbol of the pact between me and the earth. Whenever I cover the earth with clouds and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant with you and with every living creature. The waters will never again become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever the rainbow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the eternal covenant between God and every living creature on the earth." And God conveyed to Noah, "This rainbow is the sign of the pact I have made with all creatures on earth." Genesis 9:8-17. The rainbow stands as a testament to God's covenant with Noah and the entire creation. It reminds us of God's steadfastness and kindness, signaling that He hasn't forsaken humanity, but instead offers a fresh beginning. It symbolizes God's promise never to annihilate the world with water again, but to sustain life on earth. The rainbow represents hope in God's plan to rejuvenate everything, and His intention to renew all in time. It underscores the grace of God's love, manifested through His Son, Jesus Christ, who embodies our salvation's rainbow. Here concludes the narrative of the flood, leading into the tale of Noah and his offspring, who spread across the globe and established nations. However, that is a tale for a different video. Please share your thoughts on the subject of this video in the comments, respecting everyone's views. I hope you found this video engaging. If you value this content, support my channel by subscribing so you won't miss our upcoming videos. Share it with your family and friends. Hit like and share your views in the comments. Your engagement helps this video reach a broader audience. Together, let's broaden our knowledge and enlighten more minds. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.